That was interesting. So you get like a lot of instant torque and then it just kind of like dies off for a second. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're gonna be going over a used Toyota RAV4 Hybrid, and more importantly, I'm gonna explain in today's video why this is better to go for rather than a Prius, and let's get right into it. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter 4-cylinder that's paired to 2 electric motors. Total system output is 194 horsepower and then 206 pound-feet of torque, and it's all routed through a CVT automatic transmission. Now looking around the front, you guys can see that we do have the LED lights. There's kind of like the accent lights, and then you do have the projector LEDs as well. And then just down below, we've got the fog lights. The Toyota logo does double as a sensor, but this is obviously the older body style of RAV4. However, still looks good, still looks modern. That's the front end. Now around the side here, we've got two 35mm tires and 18-inch wheels in the front and in the rear as well. You do get your little hybrid badging so that everyone knows how much of a snob you are. Just kidding, but you do get the hybrid badging right there. And then other than that, there is your kind of like full side view of the hybrid RAV4. So here's the key fob for the RAV4. As you guys can see, you've got the Toyota logo on the back, and then you do have the lock there at the top. You got the unlock in the middle, and then you guys probably can't see it, but you've got the release for the tailgate. No remote start, but we can at least pop open the back. So in the back here, we've got some really important stuff. We've got some toilet paper, of course, and got some Clorox wipes. If you want to show people that you have status and wealth in 2020, you just carry this around in your car. And like if you're, I'm just saying this for all like the single guys out there, this will show the ladies that you're balling out. So definitely have that in the back. But other than that, you guys can see storage space is really solid, and there's not much else to talk about. So we're gonna shut the back, and it's that little button right there. Now finishing things up in the back, obviously you got the limited badging, hybrid badging, all that stuff. I do like the LED lights here on this generation of RAV4. I just think it's like a really sharp and nice look. It looks really good at night. And you can see the roof rack there at the top, and other than that, that's everything for the back. Now coming to the back, you can see the door panel here in the rear. So you kind of have like the tan leather in this particular one, and then you can see the trim here. I actually really like it. It's a pretty interesting look. Now here are the seats in the rear. Again, you've got that lighter colored leather. You've got the black kind of like on the back part of the leather, but that's for the full seats. They're actually really comfortable to sit in. And man, if this longboard could tell stories, it would tell stories of death and destruction. Anyways, actually popping in, it's actually pretty easy to get back in here, and I've got a decent amount of room. I'm 5'11". Obviously I can't put my feet down because there's stuff in the way, but so you got some cup holders back here, and that's all for the rear. Coming up to the front, we do have keyless entry and blind spot monitoring. Looking at the door panel here at the front, it looks pretty much identical to the rear. All the trim is the same. You actually do get memory seats here at the front. Now, popping from the front, here's the seat at the front. You guys can see, again, you've got that tan leather with the black on the outside. Bolsters are really nice, and again, the seats are very soft and comfortable. There's your adjustments on the side of the seats. Get a little RAV4 mat. Here is what the pedals look like, and then you got a little hood latch, and then come up here, you've got your mirror adjustments, and then that's for your lane departure assistance. That's obviously for the rear hatch, and there's the steering wheel before we pop in. Now to start her up, just got to put her foot in the brake, push the push start, and well, everything will come to life, even though you don't hear any engine because it's in EV mode. Here's the steering wheel in the hybrid RAV4. As you guys can see, you've got the controls there for the little center stack, and then you have the control there for the collision assistance at the front, and then you've got your voice command controls, phone controls right over there, and I forgot to mention, you got the cruise control kind of hiding there in the back. But yeah, other than that, that's the steering wheel. And you can see you've got the light stalk there on that side, and then the other stalk, you got the windshield wiper stalk. Here in the center, you guys can see over on the left side, instead of having RPMs, you actually have a gauge that shows you which part of the band you're in. So if you're being economical, if you're charging, or if you're in the power mode. Over on the right side, you've got your speed, and conveniently, you've got the fuel economy pulled up, so you can see the average fuel economy, which, I mean, that's pretty good for an SUV, and obviously it keeps popping up because I have the door open. But other than that, there's a couple different menus you can kind of scroll through. I like how it has like the sway warning, which I thought was pretty interesting. But yeah, other than that, pretty simple and pretty straightforward. The next thing to go over is the reverse camera. So you guys can see when I pop it in reverse, it'll beep at me a ton because of the parking sensors. And you've got the little camera right there. Resolution is pretty good. The lines don't turn with the steering wheel, but the SUV is small, and that's the camera. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, this is Toyota's unit they've had for a while. Now, in terms of the response time on the infotainment system, I mean, it's pretty good. You guys can see as I press stuff, it happens pretty well instantaneously. And then you've got all the analog controls on the outside. So for the infotainment system, I'd say it's pretty solid. Just down below the infotainment system, you got the climate controls. You do get a dual zone climate in the RAV4 Limited, and I actually really like the leather that goes all around here. And you get a blue stop start button because it's a hybrid. Again, everyone needs to know you're driving a hybrid. Down here, you've got a little 12 volt and then a USB port, and you can see you do have the heated seat controls for the front. Got your different drive modes, so you have the EV mode, which is fully electric, eco, best fuel economy, and then the sport mode, which nobody that ever buys this car uses that sport mode, but you know, it's there just for fun, I guess. This is kind of like a little center console area, so you've got a couple of cup holders right here, and then this is the gear selector. Next to it, you've got a little e-brake, and then the gear selector itself does have a manual shift mode, but again, CVT, it just mimics gears even though it doesn't have any. And then coming over here, you guys can see the center console, and lifting that up, you can see there's some stuff in there and some more stuff. Storage space is pretty good. Are those actually toothpicks? Might need to use one of those later. Anyways, coming over here to the glove box, you can see storage space in there is pretty good. And again, you've got like all the leather across the dash. You got a little extra storage cubby right there, and yeah, that's everything for that part. Now up top here, you guys can see we've got a little sunglass holder, and then up here we've got the little sunroof as well. And other than that, that's everything for the top. And actually, there's a sunglass holder, and inside the sunglass holder, there's another sunglass holder. Sunglass holderception. So let's actually talk about pricing here on the hybrid RAV4. So these actually don't really pull a premium in the market too much. And so you can actually find these for pretty similar prices to equivalent RAV4s that don't have the hybrid system. Obviously, you'll benefit from the better fuel economy. Yes, there is potential for more maintenance issues down the road, but better fuel economy, similar pricing, so pretty cool. That all being said, let's take this RAV4 out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility here in the RAV4 Hybrid. So you can see visibility over the hood just goes down, really easy to see out of it. And the engine is popped on. There's visibility through both of the mirrors. And then here's all throughout the rear from a visibility standpoint. And that all being said, well, let's set off. I'm setting off here in the hybrid Toyota RAV4, and yeah, obviously we're going to discuss the topic of the video, which is, you know, should you buy a hybrid in general? And something that I probably should mention is how many miles this car has. Now I've got to figure that out. I can't remember what screen it is. It's not letting me scroll through the menus anymore because it says that I shouldn't because I'm driving. Stop. I do what I want. But anyways, initially setting off here in terms of the road noise and the ride quality. From a ride quality perspective, is actually pretty smooth in general. I mean, coming from what I drive, a Raptor most of the time than the ZL1, definitely smoother than both of those. And the next thing is going to be the road noise that comes through into the cabin. You hear quite a bit from the engine. It's kind of noisy when it does turn on. Obviously, when it's in the hybrid mode, it's pretty quiet. But when the engine does turn on, it kind of just drones a little bit. It's like, which isn't bad. It's just there all the time, pretty much. And yeah, that's everything for that part. Pressing the wrong button the whole time. I just needed to press the trip button. Go figure. And 35,000 miles on this, and obviously no issues or anything with the hybrid system. Now most people say that you probably won't have any issues until about 100,000 miles, but I mean, still 35,000 miles and no issues. I think that's pretty solid for that. And if you guys were wondering on the fuel economy, that was over about 6,000 miles. Just for the mileage there with that fuel economy average that I gave you guys earlier in the video. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be getting our little like acceleration from like a standstill, if that makes sense. And I also want to see how this goes over this little dip, because this thing is basically bottoms out every single car ever, and we'll see how this goes. Oh yeah, it does it super good. So solid there, and we'll get our acceleration now. That was interesting. So you get like a lot of instant torque, and then it just kind of like dies off for a second, and then the engine comes in, and then it goes, and then obviously dies off again. So no, it's not any speedster or anything like that, but I mean, gets the job done. Well, let's sum things up with this RAV4. And by the way, I'm in the EV mode right now, so there's no engine. When I press on the throttle, no engine. Pretty cool. But here's what I have to say. So first off, on the Prius topic, I definitely feel like this is just superior to the Prius. I mean, that's pretty straightforward, right? This has all-wheel drive, it's an SUV, just better than the Prius, has more power. But the bigger thing is the fact that Priuses do depreciate pretty readily, but the RAV4s, they take an initial hit, and you could find a pretty low mileage RAV4 Hybrid for pretty similar to the price of like a new Prius, and I feel like this would just be a better value proposition. And that F-Type, it was like a green. I don't know if that came through on the camera, but it was actually like a dark metallic green. Anyways, all distractions aside, I just feel like this is a better value compared to a Prius in general, and I would rather pick up one of these used low miles than buy a new Prius, right? Just get a lot more utility out of it. And the next thing with the hybrid side of things, I mean, this one's done super good so far, no issues or anything like that, so I feel like it's really solid from a reliability standpoint. And so I think that buying a hybrid nowadays isn't as scary as it used to be 10, 15 years ago, where you'd worry about everything breaking, whereas now you have a lot more peace of mind. So I definitely think it's a better value proposition, and if that's kind of what you're looking for, check out a used Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. That is going to sum things up for our video on the Toyota RAV4. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I'll see all of you in that next video.